Welcome, this is AMECO Haber English Service and you're watching our daily updates live from the studio. I'm Gaila Damu, stay with us. Ministry vows to consolidate diplomatic activities and expand achievements in the new year. According to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ethiopia will further consolidate its diplomatic activities and expand the achievements gained in the field. Fugradi Zaudu reports.
Briefing the media, Foreign Affairs spokesperson Melissa Alam said the ministry will focus on image building and scaling up diplomatic relations next year. He added, raising resources by mobilizing the diaspora, expanding international finance access, attracting investment flows, and raising funds for reconstruction and rehabilitation, among others, are also the main areas of activities. The spokesperson stated lots of efforts are expected from diplomats to strengthen and expand the achievements that the country has gained despite many challenges. To realize this, training has been given to Ethiopian ambassadors starting from December 16. It was learned that the training focused on the measures the government is undertaking on the implementation of the peace agreement, renewing diplomatic relations after the peace agreement, promoting foreign direct investment and other related issues. Meanwhile, the spokesperson stated that the peace agreement has been widely accepted by the international community and things are returning to normal in the field of diplomacy. He noted Ethiopia's partners from near and far have expressed their desire to provide support. President of the Transitional Sovereign Council of Sudan, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, has expressed his satisfaction over the signing of a peace agreement between the Ethiopian government and the TPLF, and he affirmed Sudan's unwavering support for its full implementation. The United States, the European Union, the Middle East, Asia, and the Pacific countries also expressed their support for the peace agreement through their ambassadors. Moreover, the European Union, through its partners UNICEF and World Food Programme, has extended €33 million aid to restore essential education services and implement school feeding programs so that children living in conflict-affected areas can get back to learning. It also donated €38 million to support conflict-affected health and education sectors in Ethiopia. The spokesperson finally underlined that the government of Ethiopia is working with commitment to effectively implement the peace agreement.
Political party leaders said government's effort in providing humanitarian aid supply and rehabilitation is appreciable. Political party leaders have expressed their appreciation to the government's efforts in delivering humanitarian aid and rehabilitation efforts in Tigray region. Brownwork and tells us more.
They have also called on all to support the government's effort, leaving aside their differences. Recall that the government of Ethiopia and TPLF signed a peace agreement to permanently resolve the conflict in Pretoria, South Africa on 2nd November 2022. Following the peace agreement, the Ethiopian government has been facilitating humanitarian support through all the 4 corridors and by air to the people of Tigray. Efforts are also underway to restore basic services and rehabilitate infrastructures damaged due to the conflict. Competing political party leaders approached by the Ethiopian news agency have commended the peace agreement and the government's ongoing efforts to provide humanitarian aid and rehabilitate basic services in the region. Tigray Democratic Party chairperson Argai Berhe said the agreement reached to solve the problem in northern Ethiopia permanently has pleased peace lovers. According to him, the government's effort in delivering humanitarian aid and reconstruction is also laudable, noting that the conflict in the northern part of the country has caused chaos in social, political and economic spheres. He added that peaceful resolution to the conflict has multifaceted benefit. Argai further stressed that all need to stand in safeguarding the peace, as it is essential to ensure the guarantee of services of citizens, development of the nation and stability. The peace agreement is a big step. The importance of peace for development or stable life is unquestionable. Hence, the agreement is very commendable as it provides peace and stability, particularly to the people of Tigray and neighboring regions. The effort made by the government to bring peace in the region has borne fruit, and this is pleasing. All of us need to support the government's effort in delivering humanitarian aid, rehabilitation and restoration of basic services that is underway following the peace agreement, he said. All Ethiopian Unity Party President Mamouchet Amhara said on his part the peace agreement is crucial for public peace and the existence of Ethiopia. He also appreciated the government's effort to support the needy and rehabilitate the internally displaced people. The president urged all the pertinent bodies, including foreign aid agencies, to support the government's effort.
ትግራይ ላይ ተፈናቅሎ ያለ ህዝብ አለ አማራ ላይ ተፈናቅሎ ያለ ህዝብ አለ አፋር ተፈናቅሎ ያለ ህዝብ አለ
There are people displaced in Tigray, Amhara and Afar regions. There is a need to provide humanitarian aid for all these people equally. It is vital to supply them with food and clothes. There is also a need for emergency humanitarian aid and health services to the people. The displaced must be resettled to their permanent life. In this regard, NGOs, investors, civil organizations must support the government's effort.
ይህንን አስተዋጽኦ ማበርከት ከያንዳንዱ ይጠበቃል
Anat Party Public Relations Head Yaya Hasmara said the peace agreement and the effort intensified to implement is commendable. All need to be committed for the implementation of the peace agreement, he stressed. According to him, anyone who tries to disrupt the peace agreement is against peace, and all of us need to stand firm against this and promote peace. The agreement of cessation of hostilities is commendable. It is only the children and mothers who reside in the war zone that really understand the significance of the ceasefire agreement. The idea to stop fighting and discuss the other problems and find solutions later is commendable. However, the two parties should work in order to implement the agreement until the end.
ሁለቱ ተደራዳሪ ወገኖች በሬት ላይ ሊወርድ በሚችል መልኩ መስራት አለባቸው
He also called on all citizens to play their part for the implementation of the peace agreement.
National Anti-Corruption Committee is detaining suspects for corrupt practices. The National Anti-Corruption Committee announced that it has started arresting individuals for alleged corrupt practices. Abebe Brahani has the details.
In its press briefing, the Anti-Corruption Committee said that it has started investigating individuals suspected of corrupt practices and arresting them, including officials who were found involved in various corruption crimes, especially in Addis Ababa. The committee disclosed that Theodros Bekele, Director General of Financial Intelligence Service, and other suspects engaged in financial plundering and land grabbing have been detained. I recall the government of Ethiopia has established a national committee to coordinate its anti-corruption campaign on the 17th of November 2022, as the government believes that corruption has become a threat to the security of the country. It was indicated that the study revealed that widespread corruption is rampant in the provision of loan, consumer goods, procurements and land administration, financial sector, among others. Justice Minister Gideon Timotheos told the media that the National Anti-Corruption Committee has identified individuals who have illegally taken land from Addis Ababa city administration using fake documents, pretending to be farmers' children and claiming compensation for lands which had been used for development activities in the city. The minister added that there have also been suspects who committed embezzlement of 175,000 square meters of land and condominiums. Gideon pointed out that these recent measures being taken against corruption has also identified officials and lawyers who were working with individuals and private institutions for their personal benefits, abusing their power in the justice sector. As the National Anti-Corruption Committee has been working hard to bring the suspects of corruption to justice, the minister urged for a wider public support to the endeavors.
ወደ 175,000 ካሬ ሜትር አካባቢ የሚሆን መሬትና ከፍተኛ መጠን ያለው ገንዘብ የመዘበሩ
These officials, brokers and individuals with illegal interests have been identified. The illegally seized possessions and lands identified by the investigations so far have been banned. the process of arresting some criminal suspects has begun. The task of putting more suspects under arrest will continue. In this regard, we ask for the help and cooperation of the public.
በዚህ ረገድ የማህበረሰቡን ከፍተኛ ተሳትፎና ትብብር እንጠይቃለን.
Gideon underlined that consistent and corrective measures will be further intensified against corruption and theft since it is offensive and wrongful, adding that measures will be announced to the public on a regular basis. Director General of the National Intelligence and Security Service, Temesgen Trune, who is also chairperson of the National Anti-Corruption Committee, on his part said that the government of Ethiopia is intensifying efforts against corruption as it has become a threat to the nation. The director also said that corruption has now become a national threat and it has been exacerbating the cost of living and unemployment in Ethiopia.
ሙስና ወይም ደግሞ ብልሹ አሰራር ከአጠቃላይ ከኑሮ ውድነትና ከስራ አጥነት በተጨማሪ በሶስተኛነት ደረጃ
corruption or malpractice, in addition to being the cause for the high cost of living and unemployment in the country, has been confirmed by research that it is a third-level threat to the national security. The fact that it is a serious problem has been a major discussion point of the public.
ያላግባብ መበልጸግ የሙስና የሌብነት የማጭበርበር ተግባራት እንደሚስተዋሉ በጥናቱ ተለይቷል.
According to him, especially the service delivery institutions, financial, justice and security sectors, as well as procurement, the land issues and other sectors, face a wider range of corrupt practices. Although the government has taken various measures earlier, including the use of technology to prevent corruption, Temesgen noted that it was not possible to tackle the problem to the required level due to the COVID-19 epidemic and war in the northern part of Ethiopia. As a result, the National Anti-Corruption Committee has been formed out of the need to reverse the threat of corruption by bringing together information of all institutions to one database and working on it. He pointed out that the National Anti-Corruption Committee has established 3 subcommittees composed of legal, finance and information expertise.
Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister AMECO said Ethiopia persisted drive for prosperity and building digital economy. Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister AMECO said Ethiopia has persisted its drive for prosperity in building a digital economy. Fikradi Zaudu presents the story.
The 70th Global Internet Governance Forum, which started on Monday and has been undertaken with over 300 sessions and over 5,000 hybrid participants from more than 117 countries from across the world, concluded in Addis Ababa today. Speaking at the conclusion of the Internet Governance Forum, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Affairs Minister AMECO said Ethiopia has been working to reduce poverty by persisting to build digital economy even amid challenges to ensure prosperity.
I am pleased that IGF 2022 is behind as our country is turning a page from the 2 years of conflicts in northern Ethiopia. We are on course of diligently implementing the peace deal and providing emergency relief and service to that part of our country. Even when we were at the height of the conflict, we never relented from fighting poverty. Ethiopia has persisted in its drive for prosperity and building a digital economy.
AMECO further stated that Ethiopia had been contributing its part in the Global Internet Governance Conference held over the past years, pledging to continue its participation and partnership in the future. He called on Internet Governance Forum to take additional responsibilities to nurture and promote Internet governance. Innovation and Technology State Minister Huria Ali, for her part, said key actions are proposed on meaningful access and connectivity and ensuring digital inclusion. It is also important to leverage the Internet as a platform to unlock innovation and prosperity.
Key actions are proposed on meaningful access and connectivity. In ensuring digital inclusion, it is also important to leverage the Internet as a platform to unlock innovation and prosperity.
The Internet Governance Forum, which was held in Kenya 11 years ago, will be held in Japan next year.
Interpol official says sharing information among law enforcement officers is key to combat transnational crimes. Head of Interpol Regional Bureau in Nairobi, Gideon Kimulu, stressed the need for sharing of information among law enforcement officers in the Eastern Africa region to combat transnational organized crime and other offenses that the region is facing. Bukradi Zaudu has the details.
Speaking at the opening of the 24th Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization General Meeting in Addis Ababa today, Gideon Kimulu said it is important that all policing services in Interpol member countries should be on the same level in understanding transnational organized crimes, terrorism, and other security challenges. He added that the organization aims to guarantee peace and security for sustainable development by ensuring the free movement of people and goods, noting that such goals could be realized through sharing of information, training, and building capacity of the officers.
It is our responsibility to promote cross cooperation between our member countries in order to build a regional stability. This we do by sharing information through the Interpol Secure Communication Channel I-247. As the NCBs, you are the cornerstone in the Interpol policy to connect law enforcement agencies for a safer world. This can be achieved through sharing of information, through training and the building capacity of our law enforcement officers.
The head explained that their presence here is crucial because through their discussions, a number of recommendations will be set up and will be taken into consideration to develop an Eastern African region free from insecurity. Deputy Commissioner General of Ethiopian Federal Police, Zelalem Mengiste, stated for his part that the promotion of information sharing through regional and international cooperation is the only and the best way to combat terrorism and transnational organized crimes, adding that their presence at this meeting is a high level of commitment of member countries to sit together and discuss best policing practices, challenges, trends, and threats for a common response to every temptation of terrorism and transnational and organized crimes. He pointed out that Ethiopia, as a member country and becoming Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization chair, will be more active in sustaining and encouraging law enforcement activities in the region, including capacity building, joint operations, and other activities aimed at fighting transnational organized crimes.
As the threat of terrorism and other crimes are still rampant in the region, as there is still instability due to the armed conflict group, there is a need for enforcement cooperation in sharing information to deal with the modus operandi of criminal code, the routes the criminal is using to perpetrate their offense. I encourage every member country to urge head of NCBs to play their role of connecting our region and also take advantage of other useful Interpol tools and the capability to combat transnational organized crime.
The 5-day Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization General Meeting, attended by 14 Eastern African countries, is underway under the theme Promoting Best Policing Practices in the Fight Against Terrorism and Transnational Organized Crime in Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization region and beyond. The meeting is deliberating on transborder crimes, human trafficking, illegal arms trafficking, and drug trafficking, as well as security challenges affecting the region. Officials from the Ethiopian Federal Police, Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization, Interpol representatives of the region, and military attaches are taking part in the general meeting. The Eastern Africa Police Chiefs Cooperation Organization is a regional police body whose membership consists of chiefs of police of the 14 countries. It was established in 1998 in Kampala with the aim of harmonizing, strengthening police cooperation and joint strategies, sharing of crime-related information, and harmonization of laws tools in order to enhance the capacity of law enforcement agencies to combat transnational organized crime. The organization, whose headquarters is in Nairobi, is comprised of Ethiopia, Eritrea, Kenya, Sudan, South Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Somalia, Seychelles, Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania, Comoros, and Burundi.
The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said government and international partners providing majority of requirements for refugees in need of assistance. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance said that the majority of the requirements for refugees in need of assistance in Ethiopia are being addressed by the Ethiopian government with the support of international community. Ababa Brahani has the details.
In Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, Humanitarian Financing and Resource Mobilization Division Director Lisa Dotson told Ethiopian News Agency that there are many refugees in Ethiopia and the majority of the requirements for those people are being addressed by the Ethiopian government with the support of the international community.
I do know that there are 830,000 refugees in Ethiopia, and of course the majority of the requirements of those people are being addressed by the Ethiopian government in support with the support of the international community. So the Ethiopian government has provided that assistance. So there's a large caseload, if we want to put it, but a large number of people that need to be supported.
The director stressed that there are large numbers of people that need to be supported as Ethiopia is affected by conflict, drought and flood, adding that, therefore, this is an urgent appeal to address those suffering from food security, hunger, diseases and gender violence.
In Ethiopia specifically, the requirements for next year are $3.3 billion, and that's to assist almost 29 million people. So Ethiopia has a dubious distinction of having been affected by conflict in the north, by droughts, by floods, and so OCHA and other humanitarian partners, both international and national and local, have been working to address those needs. We're very pleased to encouraged by the signature of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement last month, and that there's been increased humanitarian access, and we hope that there will be continued assistance that can be provided to the people of that region.
It is to be recalled that the Ethiopian government has been exerting maximum effort to provide humanitarian support to all vulnerable communities by its own capacity and with the help of donor partners, where the share of the international partners has been much lower than the required level. Responding to the questions as to why the international partners, institutions and countries are not providing enough support for refugees in Ethiopia, Dotson said she thinks that is the overall funding gap, because without necessary funding, then any actor cannot provide the assistance necessary to address the need of refugees, returnees and IDPs. The director explained that the problem is not unique to Ethiopia, but it is something that happens around the world. That's why they are launching this global humanitarian overview report, because they have these issues globally and they need to be addressed, as the impacts on one part of the world also impacts other part of the world. Commenting on the efforts of the government to provide support for people in conflict-affected areas, she said the national response supported by international community is something that is necessary to work together, as it is difficult to try to address the need of people that are affected by conflicts and climate-related adversities seem to have increased the number of people in need of humanitarian assistance.
When we proceed to News Beyond Borders, Kenyan female innovator awarded $1.2 million for providing clean cooking stuff. Kenya's Charlotte Magai, who is the founder of Mukuru Clean Cooking Stuff, was awarded $1.2 million for Azrat Prize by British Prince William. Mukuru Clean Stoves aims to bring cleaner burning stoves to women in Kenya and Africa as a whole. According to studies, more than 950 million people in the sub-Saharan Africa alone rely on heavily polluting wood and charcoal for cooking. This number is estimated to grow to 1.67 billion by 2050. Charlotte Magai began the project in 2017 at the Mukruwa Nijanga slum, one of the biggest slums in Nairobi, Kenya. Her main aim was to get rid of the pollutant sources of fuel like firewood and charcoal that is still rampant in many Kenyan homes. The stove emits 90% less pollution compared to using wood and far much less than charcoal. The stove itself is also cheap at approximately $10, an amount that is quite affordable to low-income families. Sudanese rally against potential deal to solve crisis. Thousands of demonstrators rallied on the streets of Sudan's capital, Khartoum, on Saturday against UN efforts to solve the crisis sparked by last year's COP. The protests came one day after military leaders and a key civilian bloc, Forces for Freedom in Change (FFC), announced plans to sign an initial deal. The upcoming settlement, in my opinion, is a dual settlement between a small group that doesn't represent all of the Sudanese people and the military. Sudan has had problems since 1956, and the talks should involve all the people of Sudan, claims demonstrator Mohamed Hassabo. The signing of the agreement with the secular group, the FFC, does not represent the Sudanese people, and we do not accept, as we don't accept secularism and we don't accept a secular proposal. We are a Muslim people and we want our constitution to be from the book Quran and the teachings of the Prophet, said another protester, Ahmed Omar. Political turmoil has gripped Sudan since Army Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan led on October 2021 military takeover, derailing a fragile transition to civilian rule installed after the 2019 ouster of longtime Islamist autocrat Omar al-Bashir. This is AMECO Haber English Service, and now let's take a look at the foreign exchange rate. That's all the news we have for today. I'm Gaila Damu. Thanks for watching and stay tuned with the rest of our programs.